Hey everyone, this is Exploring Fiction, and welcome back to another video. So before we get into it, I know you saw the title, and this video is about The Suicide Squad, the new DCEU movie directed by James Gunn, and I just want to put it out there right now, there will be spoilers for The Suicide Squad ahead. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, please go watch it, and then come back to this video. So it's been a few weeks since I've seen The Suicide Squad, but it keeps sticking with me and I keep thinking about it, and I've been wondering why that is. So this isn't really a structured review, as much as it is a quick commentary on what I liked and why I think this movie stuck with me as much as it did recently. And the real big one that I can identify is that I loved the main characters, those being Bloodsport, Ratcatcher 2, Polka Dot Man, Peacemaker, Rick Flag, King Shark, and Harley Quinn. So I'll start with Bloodsport. Bloodsport's character to me was obviously the one who you saw the rest of the film through, for most of the film, excluding the beginning. But I really liked how his connection with Ratcatcher 2 developed throughout the movie and how it was kind of a parallel to his daughter, and how Ratcatcher 2's story about her relationship with her dad and how good it was, it kind of impacted him, and he realized that his relationship with his daughter wasn't too good. And I like how he turned into a leader despite, in the beginning, thinking that Amanda Waller was wrong and that he didn't want to work for her and that she knew he would become a leader. And I thought that whole dynamic was really cool, and he was just obviously that cool mercenary assassin with a lot of weapons and guns type guy, and he was just a good team leader character. The next one is Ratcatcher 2, and she was a very pleasant surprise, because obviously she's a very obscure character from the DC universe, but in this movie she was the heart, and her relationship with her father, although strange about how much it involved rats and all that, disgusting animals really, but it was really cool, and the way that she was kind of the savior at the climax of the movie was unexpected for me at least, but I thought it worked really well. So, and her relationship, like I said, with Bloodsport was good and well developed, and I was really invested in it, so that was just a huge plus. Third is Polka Dot Man, and like I knew this character from the comics before going in just because of how dumb him and his powers seemed to be, but I thought he was a good addition. I liked how he was kind of the really overpowered yet crazy and insane and weird guy of the team, and I liked his arc a lot with him seeing his mom as his abusive mom everywhere he goes, and everyone is her, and eventually he is able to really stand up to her, and it was disappointing that he died, but I kind of saw it coming. I thought that he wouldn't make it out, but he was a really cool character, and it was cool to see that the team kind of worked with his craziness and made it work in a team dynamic instead of kind of staying away from him and making him an outcast even further. And the next main character was Peacemaker, played brilliantly by John Cena. I thought his deadpan delivery really sold me on this guy, on his goals in life, and how he's willing to do anything to get peace, including commit insane acts of violence and crime. And I thought he was a good competition character for Bloodsport, and you can definitely see his motives at the end behind wanting to keep the information they found at the compound under wraps. And so it made you really conflicted on if you would side with him or Rick Flag and Ratcatcher 2. And yeah, I just thought John Cena played him really well, and Peacemaker was a great competitive buff guy to give Bloodsport a run for his money. And speaking of competitive buff guys, we come to Rick Flag. Now, again, like I've already warned for spoilers, but I feel like this is a big one. Rick Flag dying really hit me hard, and I think it would have hit me hard even if the 2016 Suicide Squad movie wasn't a thing, because I felt like this movie portrayed the chemistry, especially between the ones we've seen before, like Rick Flag and Harley, really well, and you could tell they have a friendship built up from past experiences. And when Peacemaker killed Rick Flag, I I really felt it more than I thought I would. And I thought the trio of him, Peacemaker, and Bloodsport kind of almost vying for leadership, but also getting along was awesome. And it really worked, and James Gunn worked his magic as usual for that. And next is King Shark, voiced by Sylvester Stallone, and almost the comic relief of the group, but also kind of a wholesome character. And I really like how he went from having no friends because he just acts on impulses and wants to eat everything in sight, to eventually trusting the other members of the team and growing to have some real friends in the end, even if they are kind of crazy. And I was really afraid that whole finale that they were gonna kill off King Shark, because there were a lot of moments I was like, oh no, he's about to die. But every time he survives, and it kind of warmed my heart a little bit, and I'm glad that he survived throughout the movie. I just can't wait to see more of him. And finally, out of the main characters that I really liked and that made the movie stick with me, we get to Harley Quinn. So, I don't really know how I feel about Harley in the DCEU overall. I think Margot Robbie plays her pretty well. I mean, I feel like Harley Quinn would be a hard character to nail down in live action, and I think I can't speak on the Birds of Prey movie because I had no interest in that. But I've seen both the Suicide Squad movies, and I think in this one especially, Harley did a good job at looking crazy, and Margot Robbie did a good job at playing a crazy yet almost calculated character. And I felt this movie was just a little bit better than the 2016 Suicide Squad at getting her craziness across, yet keeping it almost zany a little, as now she's moved on from Joker, so she's not being abused in that way. I just thought that scene where she was escaping from the mansion, where it almost turned half cartoon, was a good touch. I thought that was a great touch because it reminds you that yeah, this might, even if this just looks like it's for cinematic reasons, she's so crazy, this is probably what she sees through her own eyes, and so I thought that was really cool. So I just have a couple more reasons listed about why I think the Suicide Squad stuck with me. As I said, this is a non-review. It's not really structured in a way of likes and dislikes and a recommendation or not. I recommend for you to see this movie. It's my favorite DCEU movie. I'll go that far. But here, I'll just go through a couple more of the points I had about why I liked it. The lack of well-known characters was another thing. And of course, like, Harley Quinn is well-known. I would say King Shark is decently well-known. And Captain Boomerang and Rick Flag are known because of the other movie. But aside from that, there's not too many. Like, all the characters in that opening, for the most part, are very obscure, and I thought that worked really well because you could show consequences, and you could show it in a more fun and direct and impactful way than they did it in the other Suicide Squad movie, where they just killed off the one Slipknot, I think it was, just out of nowhere, and you barely had time to process who it even was. I thought this time they did it a lot better, and I thought including Captain Boomerang in the group that dies was good because that really told you that they're not messing around as much this time, and so that was a good touch. I thought the whole villain being Starro the Conqueror and him being more monstrous and unrelatable was also a great choice. I think that this movie benefited from, because it's so just weird and out there, from having a villain who wasn't some relatable, you understand his motives type guy. I thought that the Suicide Squad just having to take down this otherworldly threat that's just kind of wacky was good. And, well, Enchantress could be considered some otherworldly monstrous threat. That the way Enchantress was portrayed in Suicide Squad, the first one, was really dark and just uninspiring to me. And Starro is just so strange of a villain that you just can't help but not just root for the protagonist, but also just have to sit back and watch the spectacle. Really, is the best way I could put it. And finally, one last point here is that the movie was just really colorful and just plain weird and wacky, and I loved it. Now, haven't really. I'm not a huge fan. I like some of Zack Snyder's DCEU entries, but the whole dark tone and the dark CGI and just really the atmosphere of a lot of the DCEU entries, especially the ones related to Zack Snyder, aren't really my taste. I'm more about colorful and not upbeat, but more enthusiastic tones, and almost like a lot of the early MCU movies. Like Iron Man still dealt with dark themes, but it felt a lot lighter, if that makes any sense. And I think that this movie being so colorful and in your face and just wacky was just the icing on the cake. And, I hate to compare it to Gunn's other movies with Guardians of the Galaxy, but it kind of felt like that, but in its own way, and I really appreciated it. And that was just kind of the finishing touch where I decided, wow, this is really something I can get behind. So, thanks for listening to my thoughts on The Suicide Squad. I really recommend you go see it if it's still in theaters near you, and even if it's not, I would see it once it's out available for purchase. Um, I will be back next week with another video, so don't forget to like and subscribe on this one, and I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching.